Wonder Woman got buffs. Dude. Wonder Woman got buffed. Oh my god, this character's a problem, and now it's just even more of a problem. Yo, what's good? It's Miss Store, and Multiversus Season 1 just dropped. It's here now. And with that, we got a brand new Season 1 patch with a bunch of patch notes to go over. I wanted to take a look at this stuff with y'all, mostly focusing on the character balance side of things, right? You know, mostly from the 1v1 perspective, right? That's going to be things like, you know, buffs, nerfs, both big and small. But just to get out the way, I do want to go over some of these other categories real quick because there is some good stuff that I do want to talk about really quickly here, right? Morty's going to be getting here August 23rd, right? So that's dope. I'm not really into Rick and Morty myself, never just got into the show, but I am looking forward to seeing how that character plays. The other big thing is that the patch is going to be coming in 2 parts. So we got the first part of the patch today, August 15th, and then they're saying hopefully in the next few days we'll get a second part. The reason that's important is because Tony Hyun, the co-founder of Player First Games and the game director of Multiversus on Twitter, said that they are looking at Tom and Jerry. That character hasn't been adjusted yet in this patch, but they know a lot of people are complaining about the character. They're just trying to find the right way to adjust him, which I'm assuming we might be able to expect in that second part of this patch, potentially, right? The thing about Tom and Jerry is the character is really only dominating at a high level, you know, tournaments, brackets, high level play, not really more so when you're just randomly going online to play people. The character isn't apparently as big of a problem there, and they don't want to completely destroy the character in all facets. And they're looking for a way to adjust the character just on the high level play side of things. So we might expect to see that on the second part of the patch, maybe. We got the new free character rotation, and some other miscellaneous changes here. One cool thing is that they've disabled class-based battle pass missions for everyone outside of tanks. And that's actually really good, man. I just keep getting impressed with these devs because they don't seem to be too money hungry. They're like, hey, we know the only free character you really get is Wonder Woman. That's the only free character you get. So instead of having all these battle pass missions for assassin or mage type characters, we're gonna go with a guaranteed character that everybody has, saving people from re-rolling, right? And in general, they're lowering the requirement for a bunch of their seasonal missions that give you battle pass XP. You don't typically see this kind of stuff from devs, man. Because for me personally, even just playing an hour here or there every day or other day, I was able to get all the seasonal missions done, but they've lowered it still. Good on these devs. It's a lot easier now to get Battle Pass XP, and good on them for that. Not gonna talk about the general perk stuff all that much. Most of this stuff seemed somewhat minor or just fixes. And again, you know, Ice has been nerfed a little bit, the ice debuff. I think that's a good thing. And another big thing that's awesome to me is that you can now preview the character announcer packs before buying it. That was a little awkward for me. I was like, hey, I want the Harley Quinn character announcer pack, but I have no idea how it sounds. So, okay, you know, some good stuff here. Now let's get to the character changes. Let's get to the actual balance, character balance, right? So Arya's first. Arya got a bunch of buffs. And if y'all know me, man, I think Arya is a sleeper character. People were complaining about Taz, complaining about Finn, you know, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry. And you know what? Somewhat rightfully so for a lot of those characters, right? But I'm telling y'all, Arya was, if not the most broken character in this game to me, if not one of them, right? Because she can get at 90 to 100% straight hits that she's able to just follow up on with one of her abilities and just KO off the top. Mad easy, I felt like. Now, I know the character is difficult to play, but for those people that took the time with her, yo, the most strayest of hit would take you out. And she got buffs across the board. So I'm telling y'all, this character is going to dominate now. Air and ground up special got a buff. Hitting a fighter is now going to more accurately launch them at an angle that it's easier to follow up now. Up air, you know what I'm saying? The first hit will now more accurately combo into the second hit. Again, easier kills off the top when this character already got really early kills off the top. Ground side attack, she's going to retain velocity, basically making it easier to combo. Ground down attack, slightly earlier dodge branching. And then just some fixes on her air ground neutral special, right? This character is gonna be busted. there's this character was already a problem before, just a little bit more difficult to play than some of the other characters. Now, this character's gonna dominate. I'm calling it right now. This character's absolutely gonna dominate, man. Batman, my main, right? So it's as far as the patch notes say, they fixed grapple. They fixed the grappling hook. We'll see how that actually pans out, but I'm happy for this because it was one of the moves that I underutilized the most as Batman because I simply couldn't trust the move, right? Ground side attack, first hit has more whiff recovery. Now, what I'm imagining is that doesn't affect its combo potential going in from the first hit to the second hit. It's just if you whiff it now, you're more likely to get punished, which is always good. I feel like across the board, they need to add the ability to punish more moves in Multiversus. It feels like in general, everybody can just throw stuff out to an extent, right? So I'm down for that. Even though that's my main, no problems there. Batarang getting a bit of a nerf here. I'm here or there about it. I feel like Batman's only real offense is the Batarang, so creating a nerf to make it longer cooldown, I'm kind of about, but there is still a perk that you can use that basically makes this irrelevant, right? The only thing that I dislike about this nerf is that it basically forces Batman mains to take that perk. That's kind of a bummer. But overall, I'm not complaining about most of these nerfs. He's fine. Batman, I think, is already a really well-balanced character. I was hoping he'd get a little bit heavier, but he's pretty balanced, at least in my opinion. There's a few ways he could go, nerf or buff, but overall, I'm cool with it. Bugs Bunny, the big one. What we've all been waiting for, bro. Just like this says right here, Bugs Bunny has been a bit too safe in everything he does. He is described as a mage character, which is supposed to be good at long range, but Bugs dominates at long range and is an absolute demon in close range. He's a rushdown character damn near. So I'm glad that they've done these nerfs. We've given him additional whiff punish windows to address this. Great. So these right here are just fixes that prevent him from spawning 2 rockets, all right? And then again, another fix to prevent him from spawning multiple safes. Okay, and the safe itself had its HP reduced. Down air special. Bugs previous tunnels will disappear again. That's just air down special. That's just a bug fix for the most part. Up air is one of the big ones. That bat was really annoying, and they've added whiff recovery to it. 4 frames. That's okay. We'll see how that pans out in the long run. Air side attack, 5 frames of whiff recovery. Air neutral attack, 5 frames of whiff recovery. In ground down attack, has a max lifetime set to 8 seconds from infinite, right? So in general, these are minor nerfs to his whiff recovery. I don't know how substantial this is going to be. I feel like Bugs is still going to be in a position to where his combo game isn't touched, right? Because this is all whiff recovery, right? So his combo game is still going to be extremely oppressive. And on top of that, I feel like Bugs is still going to be really safe in most of the things he does, but we'll just have to wait and see. It is nice to get some kind of nerf to, 1, fixing off his bugs, and 2, bugs, no pun intended, and 2, making the character a bit more unsafe. But we'll see if this is substantial enough. I feel like Bugs in singles and doubles is still going to easily dominate even with all these changes. In my opinion, I don't know if this is substantial enough, but we'll see. There's a reason they're the game devs and I'm not. So it'll just have to be one of those things where we wait and see, right? Finn. Fighting against Finn felt too difficult as he felt a bit too safe and could throw out attacks without much fear of a punish. Very true. Hurt and hitbox foundational updates are coming soon, but not going to be in this patch. So basically what I'm hearing when they say that is that it's going to be easy. Even as Finn is charging at you, there's going to be some hurt box updates to the character to make him easier to hit out of him charging at you, as well as maybe making some of his hitboxes a little more forgiving against you. So that's all good stuff. Don't have it here yet, right? Okay, Finn now spawns with 100 gold instead of 200. Cool, down with that. Down air, okay, that's just a fix. Air side special now has additional whiff recovery. I'm down for that. That's a good one. His up air special, both on the ground and in the air. The backpack reduced the strength of the vacuum effect. Nice. Weaker hits of the backpack will no longer overwrite stronger knockbacks of other attacks. Okay. Whiffing all hits will still drop a coin. Added whiff recovery. They've made it more laggy on whiff. And hitboxes should better match the attack. Overall, that was one of the more oppressive parts of this character. So I'm glad that that's been addressed. Thank goodness, right? Air side attack. Reduce active frames to diminish Finn's ability to hit fighters behind him. Great, because I feel like you couldn't hit this character on either side of him. Really oppressive. Ground down attack. This is one of my biggest issues because what happens is when he uses ground down attack, you could be on the stage but still end up getting spiked just the way it comboed into itself. It was really annoying to fight against, but what they've done here is they've reduced the distance that it covers. And now the attack scales with how charged the attack is. So when he charges it up and gets a good read, he's still going to get rewarded for that by potentially getting that spike because it might send you far. But just on doing the move by itself, it isn't as rewarding without charging it. A good change in my opinion, right? Ground side attack, increased whiff recovery for the first hit. I agree. And then just a fix for one of his perks. Overall, unlike some of the Bugs nerf, where I don't feel like maybe that's enough to get the character to where to a spot where I feel Bugs Bunny is still going to very easily dominate. But again, I'm probably going to be proven wrong on that. Those nerfs might be very substantial enough. With Finn, I'm seeing like, okay, I think this is going to put the character in a great spot to where he's still really strong, but just not as just blatantly overwhelming as he was previously, right? Garnet, some buffs. I feel like Garnet needed the buffs. Absolutely. This is a big one. Her song activation starts on frame 12 instead of frame 30 for her air and ground neutral special. That's a really big increase. It's almost twice as fast. Great for the character. We got a bug fix for one of her moves. And then air neutral has slightly higher base knockback. Great. Some nice solid buffs. I think with this, what they're doing is seeing how these little buffs affect Garnet, make her a little bit stronger, and then I can expect we might actually see the character get additional buffs in the future just to get her in a really nice spot. Harley Quinn, nothing crazy here. Her weight increased from 42 to 44, making her a little bit heavier, which is great because assassins all have this passive that make them take 14% more damage. And I feel like that really made Harley Quinn suffer, but the weight buff will help a little bit with that. And then now her bomb visual effect, the explosion visual effect is actually going to match the hitbox a little bit better, which is nice because there would be times that I felt like I hit the character, like I hit someone with my bat bomb and it actually didn't. I was like, no, that clearly hit them, but this is going to fix that most likely. Iron Giant. Global Fighter VFX now better matches his size without making the screen too busy. Notable adjustments include his projectile block buff, speed boost buff, and his Steven bubble debuff, right? So that's just some VFX stuff. His air and ground down special, okay? It can no longer be used. You can no longer use cannonball attack when out of your air specials. Nice. Knockback angle change to send fighters more horizontally and away from him, which is great because he could get the dive bomb on you, and depending on your percentage, it was really easy for him to get a follow-up to take you out, to take your stock. So this is really nice. And yeah, they fixed the infinite, so that's great, right? His air ground neutral special, the gray health from activation reduced. Okay, that has helped. Basically, the barrier is just going to be less effective overall, and I think that's a great change because, man, it felt like with Iron Giant you could really only engage him for like 10 to 15, 30 seconds, and you had to back up for like 10 seconds, and then it's just constant. It's just constant. This constant cycle of where the character gets to play the game and you really don't. You only can run away. So this is a nice change. Ground forward special. Iron Giant grabs are correctly blocked by incompatible states. Okay, cool. Up air can no longer hit the same target multiple times. Cool. So I'm wondering, I can't remember if up air or up special is his little cyclone ability. I'm not sure, but it no longer hits the same target multiple times. Neutral air, final hit knockback angle change to send the fighters again more away from him horizontally instead of up to where, again, those dangerous follow-ups were there. Ground up attack, great health from scrap reduced from 5 HP for 5 seconds to 2 for 3. Okay, that's a pretty significant nerf. And allies that consume scrap will overwrite any existing great health they have consumed from the scrap. And then we have his forward attack. Fixed attack decay not triggering for all parts. That's a big thing, right? Because I feel like this move is always fresh no matter how much this character spams it. Then his ground down attack. Great health from art, reduced from 10 HP to 10 seconds to 6 HP for 3 seconds. That is a big nerf. I think they've nerfed overall Iron Giant's defensive capabilities and as well as a good amount of his offensive. This seems like a pretty big nerf overall for the character. And while yes, it was annoying to fight Iron Giant, I hope it doesn't completely hurt the character. You know what I mean? I'm hoping with these effects, I think there's a slim chance, but I think these nerfs have a decent chance of just reining the character in a little bit as opposed to completely making the character irrelevant. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll have to wait and see on that as well. Jake, his down air removed instant cancel out of attack to prevent skateboard infinites. That's good. And his ground up attack, thank goodness, has additional whiff recovery. Slightly later charge cancel window to make it a bit more committal. That was a big thing with Jake's. They could just sit there, bro. They could just sit there and spam up attack on the ground because there was almost no end lag on it, which is whiff recovery, no end lag, and they could just cancel out of it. So it was very non-committal, one of the most excellent changes I've seen in this patch easily. Lebron got a lot of buffs, right? So LeBron's solo dunk no longer spawns the shockwave. That is a nerf in singles, I feel like. But the solo dunk knockback and hitbox size have increased. So when you land it in singles, though, gonna get rid of them. Gonna take a stock easier. Big plus in my opinion. And they fixed one of his bugs. Okay, so ground and air down special when he doesn't have the ball, adjusted to prevent ball spam. Cool. Air side attack got a buff. Branches earlier on hit, fixed for hit boxes, hitting behind him too much. Okay, that's a good one. But it branches earlier, so that means they're gonna connect easier into the next one on hit, which is great. His ground side attack, it combos more consistently because that was a big thing. Really, it was only the first 2 hits would connect. At later percents, those first 2 hits would connect, but that was pretty much it. Fix the angle of his ground and neutral attack, which is nice. And then basketball just fixes. And then the hot hands perk, again, that's for allies. I'm not worried about that too much. Again, this is focusing on singles, 1v1. Reindog got some buffs. Reindog is a problem character and people don't realize it. People don't understand that this character is actually a pretty big threat, right? This character can be a problem, absolutely. And his up air special removed hit pause and ally. Okay, that's for a single. That's for dubs. We're not worrying about it. Yay! The cooldown on his neutral special increased by a second. That's awesome. That does nothing. That's not even really a nerf. And his up air attack has its hitbox size increased. So even with these buffs, it isn't buffing the aspects of the character that I found really difficult to deal with in singles. So that's good, right? The character got buffed in an area that it really wasn't that much of an issue to begin with. The Reindog's up air is not the most annoying part of the character to fight, absolutely. So as of right now, he's going to learn that matchup, y'all. Shaggy. Shaggy's side special felt a little too unpunishable. Agreed. So we've added a bit of whiff recovery. Thank God. All right, and his rage side air special, recovery increased by 2 frames. It now better matches rage ground side special, and they've addressed an issue where Shaggy can perform 2 of these. Great. And his down special though for rage got a buff. Awesome. Shaggy's shockwave will launch fighters into final hit that applies the weaken debuff. You know, it's basically gonna diversify what Shaggy's doing in Rage, which I think is a great thing because it really was side special, up special. Those are the two things the character was gonna use. That's it. And grounded and aired side special non-rage, 4 additional frames of whiff recovery. That's gonna help a bit. The one thing I feel like with Shaggy, his combo game again in singles is just so absolutely just in your face and oppressive. Like, the character gets you from 0 to 70 almost, and there's nothing you can do about it sometimes with DI, right? Sometimes, like, if he hits you at 0 with a certain move, you're going for a ride. And I really hope, not just with Shaggy, but with Harley Quinn and some other characters, I hope in future patches, one of the big things they focus on, they're addressing a lot of what it looks like in this patch. They're addressing concerns with whiff recovery or with end lag on moves when they whiff, which is great. But I hope in future patches they really take a look at just how much combo potential a lot of characters have. A ton of characters in this game in 1v1s can just 0 to 70 you, 0 to 60 you, 0 to 80 you, even in some cases, right? With nothing you can do about it. And it's honestly kind of boring in singles to deal with that, right? So I hope that's for the future, but at least of right now, these nerfs do make Shaggy a lot easier to fight. Steven. One nerf here, his grounded down special. Okay, so the watermelon Steven, his little clone ability now begins when the character is wrung out, right? Okay, and then these are just fixes. Not worried about that. So nothing really for Steven. Superman. Thank goodness. He has additional end lag on like almost all his stuff, right? Thankfully. Because that was Superman could really, for some characters, he really could just sit there and charge. Like he spams down laser, he spams laser, and then comes to the ground and charges up attack. That was the game plan for Superman, and it's really annoying. So overall, I think just giving Superman end lag is a great change. I know Superman has struggled against some of the better characters in the cast, so I'm hoping this doesn't completely ruin the character. They don't show us how much end lag the character has gotten, but I do think it is going to put him in a much healthier spot, because even without this, Superman still is one of the heaviest characters in the game. So he dies really late. And then on top of that, Superman's fast with air dodge. When you're using air dodge, Superman can schmoove, man. Superman can move. And then on top of that, now we're adding, Superman has more end lag on his move. So and he's still gonna kill really early, right? If he gets a read on you with his up special, which they didn't touch. They didn't touch his up special at all. He gets a read on you, you're going to sleep. So, I think this is a healthy nerf. They didn't touch too much of the stuff that makes Superman still strong and effective. Taz, right? This is the start of our tornado changes for Taz. They're going to continue to monitor tornado with extra scrutiny. They realized that the Taz nerfs to tornado really made the character unplayable. Almost not unplayable, but he was really bad. Like, the Taz nerfs were insane. They reduced the duration of the chicken debuff. Okay, but they've increased the size. I think that's more than a fair trade. More than a fair trade. Absolutely. He got a buff to his air and ground down special, adjusted projectile movement direction of his projectiles to be more forward and less of a lob. I think that's good because him having a projectile, at least one okay projectile, does help the character a lot. And then when he spits a projectile back at the 5, the projectile will maintain its speed. Okay, cool. His air and ground neutral special. If Taz eats a projectile that can't be spit back out, he will refresh a count. Okay, so he gets a little bit of cooldown back. That's dope. That's a really good change. Increase the size of hit collision for Taz eating projectiles on his neutral special ability. Also, made it possible for him to eat projectiles a few frames early, just a speed buff, right? Oh, but Taz does deal a stack of weaken debuff every time he chooses an enemy. That's a great buff because realistically, for swallowing someone, it felt like there wasn't that much reward for getting it because it wasn't the easiest thing to land, I feel like, with Taz. I'm not a Taz main though, could be wrong. But now they're going to get that weaken debuff. So whereas Tornado was was really Taz's only way of killing by applying a stack of weaken that opens up a lot of options for Taz to go get the, to go take your stock. Yeah, he has to put himself in a risky position to be that close to you to, use that neutral special on you to start chewing on the enemy. But if he gets that reward, you are then that much easier to kill with plenty of his other moves. I think that's a great adjustment. He got a nerf on his air and ground up special. They were reduced the damage, and the base knockback was reduced. Yeah, because that move is strong if he lands it. But the cooldown is really large on it, so I'm like, okay. And then his tornado. It's now a cooldown move with a 7-second cooldown. While the cooldown is active, it's a weaker version of the tornado. Full power tornado has a 1.5 second duration. It receives an additional 1 second duration after passing an ally. Okay, on cooldown, tornado has a 0.25 second duration. That's it. So this is an interesting and I think good direction to take tornado. We'll see how it pays off, but I think this is a good direction to take this move. And ground up attack, it's now a 2-hit attack. Awesome. The early hit combos into a sandwich clap. That's great. That's great. So overall, I think this is going to bring back Taz from the dead just slightly, right? I think that's going to bring Taz back from the dead just a little bit. I think that's a great choice. Because, yeah, Taz, that last nerf hit him hard. Hit him really hard. Tom and Jerry, like I said, isn't really getting touched too much this patch. So Dynamite now applies the projectile perk effects. Okay, great, because that needed a buff. But it's not the biggest thing and the big deal. And then you just fix some bugs. So again, Tom and Jerry really isn't going to be adjusted too much this patch. Ain't really worried about it. Velma. Yeah, Velma is a monster, son. And look at all these nerfs. So let's go through this. Air side special. They removed the move distance, right? The distance traveled before gave Velma additional recovery that wasn't intended. Air up special, reduce weaken stacks from 3 to 2. That's nice. Will no longer chain into down air attacks as easily to prevent easy application of damage. And that's great. Ground side special, reduce gray health from 12 HP for 4 seconds to 6 HP for 3 seconds. Cut in half. That's crazy. Down air has increased recovery in general. More end lag in general on hit or on whiff. And then air side attack on whiff has more end lag. That's nice. Ground, air, and neutral attack fix issues where word bubbles will go through the tunnels. And they reduce the ammo from 4 to 3. I think that's great. There's less bubbles for you to worry about. And reduce the ammo return from 11 to 10. That's great. And they made her lighter. Fantastic changes, man. This character was a real pain to fight. Knowledge is power perk. Reduce gray health from 7 HP for 5 seconds to 3 HP for 3 seconds. Okay, here's my stance on Velma though. While I am happy, obviously as a competitor, to see nerfs to her, Velma was really she's a support character, but really she's a distance demon, right? She was the only distance character that truly felt, no, this character is really only that good at a distance. Or in juggled situations where you're above her, right? So as happy as I am to see some nerfs and to see the character feel a little bit less safe, I am a little bit worried and hoping that they don't make her too ineffective. You know what I mean? Because the character, at least, unlike Bugs and unlike Tom and Jerry, yeah, the character's good at a range, but they're not extremely just difficult to deal with in person as well. Whereas, like, yeah, assassin characters, right? Assassins are really good. Assassins are really good, up close and personal. But at least when you're away from them, you don't have to worry about them too much. That's where mages need to be like that. Distance character needs to be like that, but the opposite. And I think Velma was actually that. Velma was really a threat at range, and I hope, while happy about these nerfs, they're not too much. You know what I mean? But hey, we'll see where it goes. Wonder Woman got buffs. Dude. Wonder Woman got buffed. Oh my god, this character's a problem, and now it's just even more of a problem. Yo, Wonder Woman mains are going crazy right now. Ground, air, neutral special got a cooldown reduction to 12 seconds from 13. Ground side special, projectile shield comes out earlier and allows her to react to incoming projectiles. So great, projectiles aren't going to work on her as much. Up air's hurt box should now match the animation, and her weight got increased by 9 units. What? I get it. Wonder Woman's a tank. I get it. I get it. I do. But a 9-unit weight increase, this character is already really oppressive to deal with. Again, I know they're balancing the game for a 2v2 perspective though, so I understand that. But yo, Wonder Woman mains are winning right now. That weight adjustment alone is a massive buff. A really big buff for the character. Woo! Hey y'all, Wonder Woman's gonna be a problem for us to fight. We gonna struggle. That's crazy. That's crazy. But hey man, that's it. That's everything. That's all the character adjustments, right? So in conclusion with this, it is nice to see them, the game in its previous, prior to patch 1 state, right? Season 1 state, right? Before this patch, the game was in a state for singles and where a lot of characters felt really safe with what they could do and what they could spam. And it seems like that was their main focus for this patch, and I'm happy to see that. There are certain characters like Shaggy where I don't know if they've done enough. Characters like Finn, where I feel like, okay, they've done a good amount to rein the character in. And characters like Velma, and also characters like Taz, to where the buffs, I feel like, are going to put him in a good spot, or at least be very interesting to watch. And then we have characters like Velma, where I'm a little bit concerned with, hopefully they didn't nerf her too much like they did Taz. And then Wonder Woman got buffed for some reason. A good one. But that's where we are with everything overall. I think this is a incredibly solid patch. Despite all the crap I talked just now, I do think this is a really good patch. This is a patch that looks like the devs are actually listening to their player base. And my only hope is with this patch, that now that they're addressing some of the safeness of a lot of these characters, next we look at combo game, where a lot of these characters just have these insane combos that get you to 60-70% off of one string from 0, right? I hope that's the next thing they look at, because I think with focusing on this, where we're trying to make things just less safe and characters less spammy, and then we also worry about combo game for characters. So where, yeah, a character can combo you at 0%, which is your most vulnerable combo state, right? To maybe 30-40%. That makes sense. Changing it to that from where it is currently now, where characters can easily combo you to 60 or 70. I think both of those changes, focusing on both of those things, is going to put the game in such a healthy spot. The game is already ridiculously fun and in a good spot, but I think focusing on those two areas is going to be really good for the game overall. Hey man, if y'all got to this point of the video, thank y'all so much for sticking it out with me. My name is Minstora. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these character adjustments in general. Did you want to see more nerfs, more buffs? Do you think characters got nerfed or buffed that really didn't need to? Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you liked the video, please go ahead and follow, or not follow, wrong platform. Subscribe and like the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all be easy.